Ambassador Zextul's mandibles clicked in what could only be described as nervous anticipation as his transport ship approached the Sol system. The Valdorian had been among the loudest voices dismissing humanity's application to the Galactic Trade Consortium 30 cycles ago. Primitive mammals, he had called them, barely capable of interstellar flight. Now his ship's navigation system was requesting permission to enter human-controlled space that encompassed not just their home system, but 7 major trade corridors that had become the arteries of galactic commerce. Permission granted, came the crisp voice from Terra Station, the massive orbital platform that served as humanity's gateway to the stars. Please proceed to Docking Bay 77 Alpha. Welcome to Sol, Ambassador. Zextul's compound eyes focused on the view screen as they approached. Where once there had been a single, unremarkable blue-green world orbiting a yellow dwarf star, now there was a bustling hub of activity. Hundreds of ships moved in carefully choreographed patterns. Centaurian ore haulers, Rigelian science vessels, even the sleek diplomatic cruisers of the proud Andromedans. But it was the human vessels that caught his attention. Gone were the crude, boxy ships he remembered from their first contact. These new designs were elegant yet purposeful, their hulls gleaming with some kind of adaptive armor that seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal. Impressive, isn't it? Zextul turned to find Captain Sarah Chen standing beside his observation post. The human woman was small by galactic standards. Most species towered over Earth's inhabitants, but there was something in her bearing that commanded respect. Captain Chen, Zextul acknowledged with a formal bow. I must admit the transformation of your system is remarkable. Chen smiled, and Zextul was reminded of why so many species found human expressions unsettling. There was genuine warmth there, but also something predatory. 30 years ago, you and your colleagues labeled us a backwater world with delusions of grandeur. Do you remember? The ambassador's mandibles clicked again. He remembered. The consortium had laughed when the humans requested control of 3 seemingly worthless trade routes, paths through dead systems and asteroid fields that no civilized species would want to traverse. We thought you were fools, Zextul admitted. Those routes were considered the galactic equivalent of back alleys. That was your first mistake, Chen said, leading him through the station's central corridor. Through the transparent aluminum walls, they could see the controlled chaos of the docking bays. You saw obstacles where we saw opportunities. They paused at an observation deck overlooking one of the main thoroughfares. A massive Cruthanian freighter was being serviced by a swarm of human maintenance drones, their movements precise and efficient. The Kepler Pass, Chen continued, pointing to a holographic display showing real-time traffic through one of the formerly worthless routes. You called it a graveyard of ships. Too many asteroids, too much radiation, too dangerous for conventional navigation. Zextul watched the display in fascination. Ships moved through the pass in a steady stream, guided by what appeared to be an intricate network of navigation beacons and automated mining platforms. We didn't see danger, Chen explained. We saw raw materials and shipping lanes that could cut travel time by 40%, once properly managed. Humans have always been good at making the best of difficult situations. But the investment required, Zextul protested, the infrastructure, the risk, was worth it because we thought long-term. Chen's smile widened. While other species focused on the established profitable routes, we invested everything in making the impossible routes possible. Every asteroid we cleared became raw materials. Every navigation hazard we mapped became a competitive advantage. They continued their tour, Chen pointing out the various improvements humanity had made to their corner of the galaxy. Automated, refueling stations, emergency rescue beacons, even what appeared to be rest stops where crews from different species could interact safely. The real breakthrough came when we started offering services instead of just demanding passage rights, Chen explained as they watched a Zephyrian medical frigate receive supplies from a human logistics vessel. Free emergency assistance, standardized communication protocols, fair arbitration for trade disputes. Zextul's eyes widened as the implications sank in. You made yourselves indispensable. We made ourselves useful, Chen corrected. There's a difference. When the Cruthanian-Rigelian War disrupted the major shipping lanes 5 years ago, guess which routes suddenly became critical? The ambassador remembered that conflict well. His own government had scrambled to find alternative supply lines when the traditional routes became battlegrounds. The human routes. Our routes had become faster, safer, and more reliable than the supposedly superior alternatives. By the time the war ended, half the galaxy's commerce was flowing through human-controlled space. They arrived at Chen's office, a modest space with a view of Earth hanging in the distance. The blue marble looked deceptively peaceful, but Zexthal now understood that appearances could be deceiving when it came to humans. You want to renegotiate the consortium charter, Zexthal said. It wasn't a question. Chen nodded, settling behind her desk. The current structure was written when humanity controlled 3 minor trade routes. Now we manage the primary commercial arteries for this entire sector of the galaxy. Our influence has grown somewhat beyond what the original agreement anticipated. You could simply declare independence from the consortium, Zexthal observed. Your position is strong enough. We could, Chen agreed. But that's not the human way. We prefer cooperation to conquest. Besides, what would be the point of controlling all these trade routes if we destroyed the trade itself? The ambassador studied the human's face, looking for deception or hidden motives. He found only calm certainty. What are your terms? He asked finally. Chen activated a holographic display showing a proposed revision to the Galactic Trade Consortium Charter. Equal representation in all trade decisions. Standardization of safety and communication protocols across all routes, not just human ones. An establishment of a mutual defense pact to protect commercial shipping from piracy and warfare. Zexthal reviewed the terms, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully. These weren't the demands of a conqueror, but of a species that had learned to see opportunities where others saw only obstacles. The other consortium members won't like this, he warned. They don't have to like it, Chen replied with that unsettling human smile. They just have to recognize reality. The galaxy's commerce flows through human space now. We didn't take control through force or threats. We earned it by being better at the job than anyone else. As his transport ship departed Sol system, hours later carrying humanity's proposal back to the Consortium Council, Zexthal reflected on the day's revelations. 30 years ago, they had dismissed Earth as a backwater world populated by primitive mammals. Now those same primitive mammals controlled the galaxy's most important trade routes, not through conquest or manipulation, but through simple competence and long-term thinking. Perhaps, the ambassador mused, it was time for the rest of the galaxy to learn from humanity's example. After all, in a universe full of obstacles, it was the species that saw opportunities who ultimately thrived.